reacting to the trade deadline for the New Jersey Devils. For the most part, we were able to get Andrew Hammond from the Montreal Canadiens. He is injured and does have a lower body injury, but it's better than nothing. For the most part, it was an uneventful day for the New Jersey Devils, but there's still a lot to talk about. So buckle up, and also hopefully Jersey Joe joins the show, as we did agree to just talk trade deadline and all things Devils. So hopefully he joins us momentarily. But for right now, I'm going to give you guys my initial reactions to the trade deadline for the New Jersey Devils. So buckle up. There's a lot to talk about.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here on the Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play-by-play announcer, and also Devils writer for Pucks and Pitchforks, Trey Matthews. And this is the first time that I am doing YouTube Live. I'm really looking forward to it, really excited, a little nervous, but at the same time, it's time to react to the trade deadline for the New Jersey Devils. So going into the trade deadline, I did a lot of preparation because, as you guys know, in my more recent episodes, I talked to a couple writers from the Hockey Writers. I talked to my buddy Neil from Devil State of Mind. So I talked to Matthew Zader. I talked to Christy Flannery. And once again, talked to Neil from Devil State of Mind podcast, basically picking their brains as to what could potentially happen to the New Jersey Devils organization come the trade deadline. Now, before we talk about their overall opinions and how it compares to now, let's just talk about my initial reactions going into the trade deadline. So once again, we were able to get Andrew Hammond from the Montreal Canadiens. And like I said, in the cold open, he is injured and he is on the injured reserve list for a lower body injury. So that's worth writing home about. But at the same time, you know, I don't think the New Jersey Devils would be stupid enough to trade for a player who has no chance of playing for the rest of the season. So just putting that out there. But at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, it's better than nothing. And, you know, there's a lot to be excited for Hammond and what he could potentially bring to our organization, because he is an older goalie. He has a decent amount of NHL experience. And right now, you know, we're just looking for a decent backup for Nico Daws, because I think it's safe to say that Nico Daws has earned the right to be the starting goalie for the New Jersey Devils, or the backup at the very least. But for right now, if the Edmonton Oilers game proved anything, it proved that John Gillies is not a capable starter for the New Jersey Devils. Like, I have no faith in him. I have no trust in him. The hope that I had for him when we first acquired him is now out the window. It's gone. So that's just something that I've come to the consensus of. So going into the trade deadline, you know, there were a lot of players that the New Jersey Devils could have potentially traded away. You know, I have the list right here. We talked about Mackenzie Blackwood in a more recent episode. We talked about PK Subban, Pavel Zacha, Andreas Johnson, Jimmy Vesey, Ty Smith. You know, all those names were brought up in potential trade discussions. But at the end of the day, I just said, I think it's best to bet that the New Jersey Devils are going to remain mostly the same after the trade deadline. And lo and behold, I was correct. I just said, at the very least, try to get a goalie. Like, you know, just a decent goalie. Just someone to help us save face. And the Hamburger, as he's nicknamed, the Devils were able to acquire him with literally only a few minutes left in the deadline. And joining me in momentarily is going to be Joe, also known as Jersey Joe. He's been on this show before. He's a friend of the show, friend of mine. So we're going to talk to him momentarily, and we'll get his initial reactions to the trade deadline and things of that nature. But my initial reaction was the New Jersey Devils were going to remain the same. That's how it was going to be. Like I said, Blackwood, Subban, Zacha, Janssen, Vesey, Smith. I said it in my PK Subban episode when the New Jersey Devils revealed that they weren't going to extend his contract. I said you can safely assume that PK Subban is going to be in a New Jersey Devils uniform past the trade deadline. That was my overall take. So you've heard my initial reactions to some of the writers from the Hockey Writers, like Christy and Matthew. You know, it was a long shot to get maybe a couple Vancouver Canucks players like maybe Brock Besser or Connor Garland. But at the same time, it was worth a shot, you know. But we're going to be talking to Jersey Joe right now. He's joining us via FaceTime. So he's about to join the show momentarily. Joe, you there?
Yes, I am. Also, I hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. Thank you. But yeah. Looking forward to it, man.
You got me now?
Yes, I got you. So the trade deadline, we got Andrew Hammond, goalie who's injured right now. I guess that's better than nothing.
Well, I mean, first off, the Devils really didn't burn any assets other than, they got a little movement from the Taylor Hall trade tree with Nate Schnarr being reinvested for Andrew Hammond. So in this case, you don't need to rely on Dawes a whole lot. You don't need to have Gillies do as much work anymore. I think you should actually cut Gillies at this point. I'd rather have
Gillies. Gillies is not a capable starter.
I mean, I didn't watch that game he played last, but I looked at that one play where the carom off the back end of the boards ricocheted, and it went to one of the other Oilers. And when Gillies stops the puck, the first initial save, he thought like he saved it between the 5-hole, but then 4 seconds later, the puck's already back in the net, and he makes late post-to-post move, and that's not good. And I would cut him like ASAP if I was Fitzgerald.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, and someone just said, what did I expect from the New Jersey Devils? Well, I just told you what I expected. I expected pretty much nothing at the trade deadline. Like, we don't really have that much wiggle room in terms of just making a deal. Jack Hughes is signed long-term. Nico Hischier is signed long-term. Dougie Hamilton is signed long-term. Barring anything catastrophic, Jesper Bratt will be back with an extension with the New Jersey Devils come next offseason. But at the end of the day, like, did I expect much from the New Jersey Devils? No. But, I expected maybe, what could we get for Jimmy Vesey? He's good on the penalty kill. I'm sure a contending team would love to have that. Or, Pavel Zacha. We were talking about Brock Besser, Connor Garland. Could Pavel Zacha be the centerpiece of that deal? We were talking about PK Subban. Did he play his final game at the Prudential Center just a few days ago? And did he score his final goal as a New Jersey Devil during this Western Canadian trip? But I just said we're going to have to retain half of his salary to sweeten the deal at least. But, final year of his contract, it's not going to hurt. At the end of the day, like, I didn't expect much from the New Jersey Devils, but that's what I'm just saying. Like, I got to say my opinion, which is, did I expect maybe a move here and there? Yeah, but my expectations were anywhere from moderate to nothing at all. But that's okay.
I will say this. Those bigger trades are more for like right after the lottery balls land. And when the Devils know where they're going to be picking, they can obviously try and evaluate to see what they can get. Maybe they can get a Besser to do a sign and trade, maybe Garland possibly. But who knows between the lottery balls and the NHL draft and free agency. So there are a lot of other good options out there. And just like I sent you the goaltender stuff, Billy Husso is one of those guys, free agency wise, RFA wise, on the goalie front. I have him high on my list for Tom Fitzgerald to go a little bit kind of like big game hunting, but this time for goaltending. And I think he's pretty ripe in that retrospect. And Vitek Vanacek absolutely would be good for the pickings.
Vanacek from the Capitals. I could see, honestly, I'd be down for that, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But also someone on that list, hopefully he does not retire, but I was talking to Neil about this. What about Marc-Andre Fleury? He was just traded to the Wild today, but he is set to be a free agent come the offseason. Maybe see how he's feeling and just see if maybe we could sign him to a 2-year deal?
Yeah, I mean, first off, Marc-Andre Fleury's from Quebec, so he'd be a lot closer to Quebec being in New Jersey if he did arrive. The second thing would be a clause saying you're not going to pull a Corey Crawford in midseason or early season or preseason, that kind of thing. We need a certainty before we even sign someone. So we need to know that first. Second off, are you willing to join this up and coming team that has a whole lot of potential, but are you ready to be part of the solution in net?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the smart thing to do, because I talked about Marc-Andre Fleury possibly joining the New Jersey Devils in a silly season episode. I said it's not is it a long shot? Yes, but it is very plausible, to say the least. It could happen. It's most likely not going to happen, but look, here's the thing: we have a lot of talent on this team, and here's my pitch to Marc-Andre Fleury. It's like, look, we got Jesper Bratt, we got Jack Hughes. Those are our two centerpieces moving forward. We also got Dougie Hamilton. He's set to win a Norris Trophy within the next couple years. We're a young team with a lot of potential. We have a consistent defensive pairing of Jonas Siegenthaler and Ryan Graves. Ryan Graves very consistent. What he doesn't on the ice doesn't show up in the score sheet. Same with Jonas Siegenthaler. Siegenthaler is not going to give us any points, but that's okay because he's a shot suppressor and he knows how to assert himself. And, that's what I like. Damon Severson, more focused on the offensive side than the defensive side. But at the same time, he does make a lot of boneheaded plays. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay, because he usually redeems himself. That's the one thing I'll respect about Severson. For every boneheaded play he makes, usually he shows a sign of redemption. So my thing for Marc-Andre Fleury is or maybe Jack Campbell, because he is heavily underpaid on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Maple Leafs have to pay a lot of people money. So could they afford to keep Jack Campbell on board? So if I'm making this pitch, I'm just like, you are the last piece we need because our issue is goaltending. Are you willing to come here and help us? That's my thing. That's my pitch. You are the final puzzle piece that we need to go to the next level. Because Neil said it best in our crossover. He said the Devils are kind of in a win-now situation. Well, let me rephrase that. We have a lot of players signed to long-term deals. We have a plan in place, but right now we're stuck in neutral. We just need something to put us over the hump so that way we're back in the playoffs. I'm not saying championship or bust. I'm not saying
right.
Deep playoff run. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying we're in a decent situation to actually, be called somewhat decent or respected in the NHL, if that makes sense.
So, yeah, I agree with that analogy. So, basically, there's a bunch of losers getting bounced out of the first round, eh? So, anyways, let me just put it this way. So, we're going to be in neutral, but we're going to add some really good guys in the offseason. And the hecklers like that will be proven absolutely wrong very soon. And let me put it this way. The Devils have the money to add the guys to go from neutral to first gear. So that would put them from, let's say, the lower part of the Eastern Conference and move them up to middle of the pack and maybe add a little bit more. Maybe they could be a wild card team. And actually, I
feel like they could have been a wild card team this year, but, COVID, injuries just set us back a couple of weeks and we just could never recover.
That's the point. You have Hammond as an insurance plan and you have some other guys coming up in the pipeline. And barring any offseason moves, if you have Alexander Holtz come in and he's ready to lock and load as a finisher, and you have that Garland or Besser, or you sign Johnny Gaudreau, you're looking at
Johnny Hockey.
Yep, Johnny Hockey from Salem, New Jersey. So you're looking at a team that would have a lot of really good finishers, and then you have prospects like Riley Walsh, who are looking to replace a guy like Subban over the next season. I'd rather be bullish on the younger guys replace a Subban, but there's a lot more promise. And if I'm a season ticket holder and you're looking at, Fitzgerald being bullish like he did last year, I'm feeling more positive than I did, this past season where COVID and everything else just held us back, like you said.
It did hold us back, and we're going to continue our discussion momentarily. But I got to ask you, Joe, are you a betting person?
I'm not a betting person. I'm more of a stock market person.
Well, either way, I wanted to get you hip to betonline.net. It's the best time of year again as college basketball's tournament is finally upon us. My bracket's actually 95%, not to brag. From all the ways odds, contests, and player props, betonline.net is the number one source for all your sport betting needs and info. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sport wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. Head to the website today or use a mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Please remember to gamble responsibly and visit our friends at Locked On Bets for all your betting needs there as well. Okay, so I feel as though, and this is not a hot take, we have the pieces. And you said it a few months ago in our crossover. We have the ingredients. We just need the right chefs and the right sous chefs to put it all together.
Yep.
Lindy Ruff has kind of changed my opinion as to how he's handling things, because I feel as though the Devils, after the All-Star break, have become one of the more better that was incorrect grammar. Have become one of the best offensive teams in the NHL. I think that's safe to say, because, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, both those players are guaranteed a point every game. They're the reason why the New Jersey Devils don't get shut out that often, or haven't gotten shut out recently.
Well,
and, yeah.
As you said, they're not getting shut out as often. When they added Nathan Bastian back off of waivers, having those net front presence guys up front really do a lot of offensive creation and opportunities. You talked about betting odds. I like the odds of increased scoring rates when you have big bodies up front disrupting the eyesight. Now, if the Devils can get a guy like Georgiev in the offseason to be our goaltender, maybe we can steal some more games and have Hammond be our third stringer. That'd be something that I would be bold on. I know Georgiev's having a little, fit with the Rangers, and I think a little piss and vinegar would help. Just to piss those guys off too.
I mean, this team is entertaining, to say the least. And, where do we go from here? Well, the thing is like, we got Hammond from the Canadians once again, the Hamburger.
The Hamburglar, yes.
The Hamburglar. He's known for just being exciting, to say the least. Like, he's entertaining. Like, is that safe to say? Because, like, he was the first goalie in NHL history to earn 21 wins in his first 27 games. He was one of two goalies in NHL history to allow 2 goals or fewer in their first 12 starts. NHL first star of the week back in 2015. First goaltender in Ottawa history to win first 5 starts in their career. And I think the one issue that people have is that he's injured, so it's just like and it's a lower body injury, so similar to what Mackenzie Blackwood is dealing with right now. So I think that's the only issue people have. It's just like, because I've been seeing on Twitter, I was like, did we seriously just trade for an injured goalie? And I'm just like, well, look, I don't think the New Jersey Devils, I said it at the beginning of the show before you joined, I said, if the New Jersey Devils didn't have any faith that he could possibly return this season, I don't think they would make the trade, quite honestly. I think there is a chance he will return, and he's just here to save face. It's a for now situation. As I say a lot on the show, it's not a permanent situation. It's just a for now situation, because at this point, we need some sort of entertainment in between the pipes, because every time Dawes is there, I love Dawes. I love his overall production. But let's face it, too much of a wild card. And I don't have the utmost faith that he's going to win consistently. But, when he's good, he's damn good. But when he's bad, he is terrible. And it's just like, I don't know what to think. But then, I'll let you speak in a second. But for John Gillies, it's just like absolutely no faith. Just put up the L.
Well, I'll say this about Dawes. Like, you can only play Bear Claws Dawes so many times in a row where mentally you're going to get worn out. Like, teams are going to figure out a lot easier, but when you have a couple of games off and you have a really reliable backup, and let's say Hammond takes some of the steam off, he can then be a little bit more refreshed and be less likely to get Schneideritis. And what is Schneideritis? Being
Mackenzie
overplayed,
Blackwood has it right now, everybody.
and your lower body reduces your chances of saving the puck than you want to. So really, I would say this: the reduce the workload and the more efficiency of each game played for a guy like Nico Daws, that is, he can save more games and win more games at a better rate. And he doesn't have to be playing 7 out of 9 games. He just needs to be played more effectively.
Right. And according to Alex Javante of the Hockey Writers, Hammond has a 920 save percentage in 4 games. That's a sample size. That's very small. We can't really go off too much from that. I remember we couldn't go too much off of John Gillies. And, but, here we are. And here we are. I just said, we're just going to have to wait and see what potentially could happen. But at the same time, it's just like, with Hammond, this is a for now situation, to say the least. It's for now. You get what I'm saying? But I'm looking forward to seeing what the New Jersey Devils could potentially do. Are you having technical difficulties? I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you were muted for a second. But I think Hammond is a for now situation. It's a small sample size, but this is just to save face for the rest of the season. But for the New Jersey Devils, just a quiet trade deadline. But what else can you expect? They don't really got much to work with. So Mackenzie Blackwood stays. PK Subban stays. Pavel Zacha stays. Andreas Janssen stays. Jimmy VC, Ty Smith, they live to see another day. And, we're just going to have to wait to see what we can do in the offseason. But I think we have the pieces to potentially move a couple people come the offseason. We'll have more wiggle room. But for right now, I think I'm overall very satisfied with maybe how this rest of the season could potentially go, just because, at least we know what we're rolling with night in and night out. You know what you're potentially going to get from this team, which is decent offense, but not really much offensive execution. But at the same time, I'm excited to see what can happen. Are you back? Can you hear me? But for New Jersey, I'm looking forward to see what they can potentially do. All right, hang tight, everybody. I'm going to help Joe with his audio real fast. All right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? But for New Jersey guys, I just don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see how the rest of the year could potentially go. But my overall opinion, guys, is that we couldn't expect much. We couldn't. We can't expect a lot from New Jersey. Hang on, I'm still trying to help Joe real fast.
It sounds garbled.
Yeah, this is what happens. But as for today's episode, guys, thank you for tuning into this live episode. Really appreciate it. First time that I'm doing something like this, and I really enjoy it. Right now, Joe's having some technical difficulties, so we'll see what potentially happens. We'll try to get a final word from him. Looks like he's back. Let's try this again. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Sounds a little funny.
Yeah. But we're about to wrap up. So any final thoughts, Joe? We apologize for technical difficulties. First time I'm going live, everyone. So just trying to work through it and things of that nature.
My final thoughts, I would say this. Just keep evaluating what we're doing right now and make a few trades or signs or a little bit of both in the off season, either at the draft or before free agency, and do some asset management, whether it be a Garland signing or be a Vanacek signing or signing Billy Husso. So I would say that. With that being said, I think the Devils are in good hands, and we should be able to go into first gear for next season.
I agree with everything you said. Joe, thanks for taking the time to do this, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to do it. I know audio was kind of messed up, but first time doing live, everyone. So I'm glad you were able to bear with it, and you heard Joe's opinions, you heard my opinions. So once again, that's all the time I have for you guys today. Thanks for listening. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day, New Jersey. Once again, New Jersey, very silent at the trade deadline. Got Andrew Hammond, just a save face for the organization going the rest of the way. But I would expect big things from the New Jersey Devils come the offseason. Now, since we're past the trade deadline, let's see if the New Jersey Devils can turn it around. We'll see what happens. But anyway, for Jersey Joe and myself, I'm Trey Matthews, and I appreciate all the time you've done. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.